boys.
All
That
right.
was a good day.
Any moment now, you're going to drift into a lifestyle, a mindset, a journey. The destination is the thin space, where sky and water blend, where fantasy and adventure collide, and where the dream you follow is overtaken. We won't start without you on Discovering Water. For some, the quest is to go just as far as you can go. Around the next corner, the next bend, the end of the road. U.S. Highway number 1 snakes its way from the Canadian border in Maine to Fleming Street in Key West, the literal end of the road. It's where dreams and dreamers have ever piled up against the very spot where the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico meet for the very first time. Adventurers have come and gone from this very harbor in the boats of their eras since the 1400s and beyond. Today is no exception.
When you're in the Keys, there is no shortage of salty fishermen around, so we decided to bring a couple local conchs along for the ride. With a full arsenal of light tackle, heavy tackle, spear guns, and scuba tanks, we're ready for just about anything the Atlantic can throw at us. And it's a good thing, too, because we are in the Keys. And with all the biodiversity here, you never know what might swim by. Now, there's a saying here in the Keys that says west is best. Essentially, that means the farther west you go from Key West and civilization, the more raw and untouched the fishing is. And that is the direction we are headed. Over the horizon, way out in the Gulf, are structures that are absolutely teeming with life. The Keys are known to be a little windy with the periodic trade winds that blow through the area. But on a rare, slick, calm day like this, we have a little extra time to make a quick pit stop and grab some groceries before we head westward. Bugs? Anyone? The Florida Keys are world famous for spiny lobster, otherwise known as bugs. This tasty crustacean inhabits inshore waters all around southeast Florida, and with the range so close to shore, they become a fan favorite for Floridians.
This young man has a lot of Labrador retriever in him. He gets a glimpse of water and he's in.
There are a few ways to catch lobsters, but my favorite way is to throw on a mask, grab a net and a tickle stick, and go bugging. Spiny lobsters love to hang out around ledges. Just make sure when you're searching around that you have your wits about you. Some creatures you may encounter may not be so friendly, while others definitely are.
This is not another world for Tyler. Things simply got a little wetter. The cast of characters has changed a bit, but it's still home.
No matter where you find yourself on this planet, dolphins know where the best spots are, and they will often lead you right to the goods. Gotcha! Now that our pit stop is complete, it's time to get back to the boat because we have a long ride to the wild, wild west. Just make sure the groceries have enough ice.
You weren't expecting it, but you blinked, and you were there, thin space, where all the horizons of your life align, expand, and collide in instant clarity.
The thin space is that moment in time that we are all searching for. You can feel it when you watch a beautiful sunrise or when that tarpon rolls in the background. It's when time slows down, you get that zen-like feeling. And in Key West, I was out there on this beautiful grass flat searching for lobsters to eat that night. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 5 big bottlenose dolphins came in to kind of check us out. And normally they just kind of swim right by, but these ones actually interacted with us. They were blasting us with their sonar. They came right in, and we were actually playing with them, just swimming around each other. It was unbelievable to interact with one of the most intelligent creatures on the planet.
Discovering Water is brought to you by Gulfstream Yachts.
There's a certain anticipation that a fisherman experiences whenever they approach a spot that they've never fished before, especially one as massive as this.
The bottom of the nearshore Gulf of Mexico is basically very flat and devoid of natural structure. The introduction of a place for fish to gather and to hide is no small occurrence.
A large top-to-bottom structure such as this acts as a safe haven for all sorts of smaller fish species throughout the water column. And where small fish congregate, so do the big ones. Fishing is not simply just the act of harvesting meat from an aquatic body of water. Rather, fishing is a connection to an alien world that lies within our own planet. Every cast or technique change that a fisherman makes is a grasp at better understanding how the creatures in this alien world work. The techniques that today's fishermen utilize were built on the backs and observations of the fishermen before them, and the fishermen before them. Still though, to this day, we know more about the surface of the moon than we know about the depths of the ocean. However, we have learned a few things along the way. All right. Well, these guys are the pride of the Florida Keys down here. They're beautiful fish. They're super tasty. I mean, that's why they're, the biggest commercial fish down here, right?
Right.
These guys. And that's a nice one, huh?
Yeah, that's a good one.
They're all solid. They're a couple pounds, you know.
That's
they're
definitely
all
a good
cookie
one.
cutters.
For sure.
You know, they're all lit up. They're beautiful. They got the giant yellow tail, hence the name. And the big ones, they call them, you know, flag. They almost look like an American flag with stars and stripes on them.
Right, right. They're so big, that big old yellow tail.
They are absolutely gorgeous, and they are tasty.
They're very tasty, very tasty.
All right, man. Well, what do you think we got enough of these guys for the day? Oh, Steve's got one more. Nice little guy. I'd say we put these in the bucket and jump in the water, see what we can.
See what's down there.
There's some big dogs down there.
Might be some good ones.
Massive structure. Huh?
Absolutely. Let's do it. I'm excited.
In no time at all, Tyler is ready to get wet again and slips seamlessly into a thin space where he's weightless, like the fish he pursues, hearing what they hear, seeing as they do through dappled and diffused daylight, becoming for a few moments what man has always been, a hunter.
Harvesting a big, powerful fish 140 feet down on a jagged structure that's crawling with large predators can be a risky maneuver. humans are but visitors to this mysterious world. So it's time for this amberjack and I to ascend and return to mankind's normal, natural gravity. Back on Key West, there's a certain cultural tradition that we need to attend. There's an eclectic group of people that seem to have simply run out of road at the bottom of Highway 1 and all piled up in Key West. Every evening here on the Front Street Pier, a gathering of sorts occurs.
Tyler steps out onto Mallory Square, in my time, the Front Street Pier. The smell of meat fires, cat juggling, curios, and trendy music replacing Jimmy Buffett and the Coral Reefers. Times change, as they must.
Everyone is here for more or less the same reasons. To be entertained, get a true feel of what Key West is all about, and make sure the sun goes down so we can all celebrate another fantastic day in the Conch Republic. After the sun slips below the horizon, what happens in Key West stays in Key West.
Water has ever carried us across the farthest horizons, around the next bend, and down through the vast canyons and forests of exploration and adventure. Your spot on board is reserved. Take your best hold. The journey begins now. Discovering Water is brought to you by Gulfstream Yachts. The American War for Independence from Great Britain deposited a contingent of loyalists, loyal to the Crown of England, on the island of Key West. While not a day's boat ride away, a similar group, many from the Carolinas, began settling along the Bahama Islands. Similar tropical lifestyles evolved, and eventually commerce developed between the two.
With 1,000 gallons of fuel